Hello, Team Zug. Um, it has sure been a while since I made a video like this. You remember these guys? Horace, Gerald, Prince, and Arnold. So back in June, I made a video about them because I made these guys during January and February, and I took a break of making models for a while. Well, about that, I have more. So yeah, So last month and including this month, I've been making more Horace the Horrid Engine OCs. I've made a whopping 11 and 12-ish characters. You might be wondering, there's only 11. 1, 2. So yeah, I've been making OCs. Some of them I got from eBay, and some I got through an app called Etsy. With that out of the way, let's get started, shall we? Let's start with this character, since he was the first kit that I bought. This is Callum, and Callum is a Fletcher Jennings Class C, just like Scallowy. Now, Callum is actually the oldest engine on the railway. In fact, he's actually the first ever engine on the line in my AU. So Callum was originally the number 2 of the railway. He had 3 other siblings, the same class of engine he is. Callum's character, he's called the cranky engine, like Horace is the horrid engine, and so forth. So I want to give most of my characters good names that fit their characters I've given them, and I decided to call Callum Cranky because, well, he's cranky. Now, Callum is like a predecessor of Horace because Horace is a bit horrid, and I believe Callum could be a bit rude in his prime. So yeah, Callum is now the number 1 engine on the railway because the original number 1 was long since scrapped. In fact, Callum was the only original engine left on the line, so that's really cool. So I really like Callum. He's a good character I made, and I'll talk about him later. Just put him on the side. Here we got Winnie. Now, Winnie is a falcon, just likes to handle. And Winnie is actually Horace's best friend because in my AU, before Horace comes to the railway, he and Winnie used to work on the chorus railway with Edward Thomas and Sir Hayden. But in my AU, they originally called Hugh and Kerr, which is kind of canon. So Winnie is like the number 6 and Horace is number 5. Winnie is known as the Wonderful Engine. By the way, I got both these two on the same day. I got them through an app called Etsy. Great app. I recommend it. All the delivery isn't perfect, but it's alright. Now, I did notice that after I finished making Winnie, Horace towers Winnie. That's kind of a problem because Winnie is kind of the smallest engine I made. I don't know if it's a scaling issue, but I don't really care that much because I think Sahin is slightly shorter than Edward Thomas height-wise. Well, it's not accurate, it's at least something. So yeah, I really like Winnie. He's one of my favourite characters I made. I just love the idea that Horace has a best friend who's the opposite of Horace. Like, we never really got a character that's positive that much. I mean, Prince always has breaking problems, and Gerald is Gerald. Don't worry, I still love Gerald. He's my favourite. So yeah, Winnie's my favourite OC because he's like that loyal friend that everyone should have. He's a sweet, lovable engine. Everyone loves him, even Callum. So yeah, Winnie is one of my favourites. I love him. It's also nice we got a Falcon locomotive that's kind of nice. I'm sure there are other nice ones, but Winnie's the nicest. Now let's move on from the nicest to the least nicest. Serena. Now Serena is actually Arnold's twin sister. And she's number 2 and Arnold's number 3. And Serena is the opposite of Winnie. She's a horrible engine. She picks on Arnold. And she has no friends. And she's kind of a She's kind of a nightmare. She's annoying too. Serena, this is not her first shape. This is her rebuild because originally she's just like Arnold, because she was an Andrew Barkley locomotive, the same kind as Duncan, but Serena has an accident in my EU and she get rebuilt with side tanks like Ivor Hugh. Only a 440 Ivor Hugh, to be precise. That's Serena. I mean, she's probably one of my least favorite characters, but she's kind of important to Arnold's character, so yeah. And these are the customs I don't have chassis for, besides that one. Let's go over here. This is Teigan, the tram engine, and she's the only other female engine besides Serena. And unlike Serena, Teigan is a lovable old engine. I want to call it Teigan the timid engine, or Teigan the timid tram. I'm going to fix that real quick. There we go, much better. So yeah, Teigan was saved from the scrapyard. Well, she didn't really go to the scrapyard, but she was saved from it. Yeah, she's the only surviving member of the class because she's based on the Glen Valley tram engines. Kind of an underrated engine design. I kind of like them. They are boxy, but cute. And I think it's a shame that none of them got preserved. Right. Here's Landon. Now, Landon is actually a hodgepodge custom because he is made out of so many parts. I bought a tiny kit from eBay that looks like the Fletcher Jennings Class C. No, sorry, Class BB, like Rhaenyra's. So yeah, he's basically... I wanted the cabless version of it to match Callum because originally Landon was the original number 5 for the railway before he had to be sold off along with the number 4. So yeah, these two, like Callum and Landon, have a brotherly bond, and I really like that. And plus, if Callum is like the predecessor of Horace, then Landon is like the predecessor of Winnie, to say the least. He's called Landon the Lucky Engine. Yeah, really cool guy. I use a chassis, the same kind of chassis the chassis block I got from the same cell as Horace, Arnold, Serena, Gerald, and the other two along with Princess Chassis, so that's pretty cool. Right, moving on to these guys. These are the only diesel customs I have. This is Marvin and Martin. And the only reason I made these guys along Landon because one of my friends, Transformers Bluey fan, made edits of them. And I really like that. So I decided, you know what, I'll make them. So yeah, here's Marvin. He's the evil twin. Yeah, he's like Devious Diesel as a narrow gauge engine. And then he got his twin brother Martin, who's the opposite of Marvin. He's actually a really nice guy. So he's like a narrow gauge diesel version of Paxton. Yeah, they're really nice. They're the only diesels I have, but hopefully one day, if I decide to make more OCs, I might make more characters. Now here are these two real quick. These two are not owned by Horace's Railway. These two are owned by the Iron Brew Factory. This is Robbie and Freddy. They used to work on Horace's line, but they were sold off. I mean, they were on loan because Robbie used to work at a quarry in Wales and Freddy used to work in a railway in England. Robbie's a Koi Hunslet and Freddy is a Custer Skylar. The original, like one of the first few batches. Oh yeah, these two are Rust and Hornsby diesels, like Rusty. But anyways, these two were originally going to be sent back to the original railways, but because they had a brotherly bond, and sadly, Freddy's railway closed, and Robbie's Quarry didn't want them back. They worked on the line, but then they were sold off to make some money, and they sold off to the Iron Brew Factory. Right. These guys. So this is Zig and Zag, the double fairly engines, and they are the only engines on Horace's Railway that have 3 letters in their names rather than 6, but when you combine them, like both their names, it has a 6-lettered name. Zigzag. That's pretty cool. Zig and Zag are like Horace's fans. They want to be hard just like Horace because they're young engines. They're recently built. Because originally they were being built alongside Gerald, but Gerald came first, and Zig and Zag ended up being pushed back because the railroad had to buy so many engines. And finally, here's the last engine. Whoops. Here is Zachary, the single fairly, and he is pretty cool. I really like Zachary. Zachary is the last engine that I got saved from scrap, and he's actually, in my AU, he's the original single fairly Tilston, not the replica, the original that was scrapped in 1935. Because in my AU, he survived the scrapyard that he was sent to, and he was saved in 1942, I believe. So yeah, really cool. Sadly, his couplers are, well, that. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm really connected to anything at the moment. So unless I figured something out, he'll have to stay like this. If anyone knows how I could get these if I could get these couplers to expand, please let me know in the comment section below, because I'm really curious. So yeah, that's all my Horace the Horrid Engine customs. I hope you enjoyed them. If you like this video, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!